Muted.
Yeah, it's muted. Good.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Midnight Mando, the Mandalorian after show. Depending on when you watched it, it could be right after. It could be hours after. If you're Troy, it could be a day later. That's one thing I'm interested in when everybody watches this. But yeah, welcome to Yes Have Some. It is midnight. It is Friday. This is the Wayne's World of Star Wars. That's what I like to say. And boy, am I excited to talk about this episode. What was that?
It is like Wayne's World. We're basically in our living room.
Yeah,
it's all of
what
our
it is.
friends. We're having fun.
It's great. They were way ahead of the curve with doing produced television from your home, Wade and Garth. But man, am I excited to talk about The Mandalorian, Chapter 13, written and directed by Dave Filoni. Episode 5 of this season, Season 2. And we're going to get started right now. Unbelievable episode of television. But before we get started, we got to talk about who we're talking to tonight. Abigail Gardner.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Do you like Star Wars?
I love Star Wars.
I thought you did. Now,
a good time.
I noticed that you're sporting some new garb here. What do we got?
Yes, this is a Yoda t-shirt, which also was worn in Step Brothers by
Yeah, John C. Reilly.
Yeah, John C. Reilly.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
I got it for my birthday this week from this guy. Thank you.
Happy
Thank you
birthday.
very
I'm
much.
just trying to brag. Ryan Dole from Vancouver, BC. How are you?
I'm doing great. How's everyone doing?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us. Troy Benjamin, you're
Hi,
back.
everybody.
He's still here.
I'm self-conscious being in this top left square for all the squares now.
This is a
weird.
tough
Do
square.
you want to switch?
That's
Shuttle
a
like
tough
being in the
square.
Oh, wait. I have to look this way, right?
And then our special guest tonight from forlomtozuckus.com is the website that he runs. He is a Star Wars aficionado, toy collector, and podcaster, Jake Stevens. How are you? Welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thanks for having me. It's I'm looking forward to this big time.
There we go. hey. Thank you. Yeah, Jake joined Ryan and myself for Toy Anxiety a couple weeks ago, and a bond was formed. On my end, at least. I can't speak for him.
instant peanut butter jelly.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, and we're going to talk about The Mandalorian. Before we get started, though, Abby, you're
Mandalorian?
Yes, that's why we're here.
I watched Discovery, the latest episode.
Oh.
Which was
Oh,
also good.
Should I
but
pause
that's a
this and
different
come
show.
back?
Yeah.
If you guys want to talk about Star Trek, I'll still try to facilitate, but
We'll
it's
do
not gonna... Abby's running the chat.
Yes.
What do we got going on tonight?
Everyone is hanging out in the chat tonight. I want to say hey to all of you. Catherine, Julia, Ray Cameron, Jamie Knowles. The whole gang's out. Brock and Jessica. And everyone's drinking sweet tea, it looks like. And
All right, sweet tea.
having a good time. Everyone loved the episode. People are really excited to talk about it.
This seems to, once again, let's get into this. Star Wars is doing something that not only Star Wars isn't able to do often in most fandoms. They're putting out what seems to be a universally loved product. I can say the word universally, too. It's been a long week, everybody.
Yes.
Come on.
Thank you for being here.
You're doing great. You got this.
So what we do every week before we get into the actual roundtable, we like to give out how many credits we want to give to this episode on a 1 to 10 scale. And Jake, you are our guest. I hate to put you on the spot because you're mid-sip. But
Yeah.
I got to know, how many credits did you... More sippage. I like that. What we always ask, what are you actually sipping on? Is that an
Yeah.
A&W or something along those lines?
This is Dr. Pepper that might have a little bullet whiskey inside.
Okay.
Just a taste.
Hey, Dr. Pepper is
On point.
so on brand for us. You don't
Yes.
even know the half of it.
Did you pay extra for that?
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
We actually sent that to him.
So, Jake, we'll start with you. We got to give the credits out. How many credits would you give this episode?
I agree with Kat, 84 billion credits.
There you go.
Sounds
4
right.
billion, yes.
Yes.
I'm going with an 8. I've watched the other shows, so I kind of know where you guys fall, and I'm going 8. I'm not. I doesn't mean there was anything that I disliked about this episode. I think from a directorial stance, this is only Dave Filoni's second outing, and so for me, there was a little a lot of forest in there, a lot of forest scenes. And so maybe the pacing could have been a little different, but that's about the only thing I'll say. So I think I think of it as how epic it was in terms of like the first one. The first one felt like I watched a 3-hour movie. Right, because they went to different planets and they had different adventures and different locations. Here, they landed on a forest, went to a base, went back to the forest, base, forest. So that's the only reason I downgraded a little bit from being fantastic. But there's so much great content in there.
All right, Troy Benjamin, you're up next.
I would give this one 10. I feel like I'm going to now set this one as the bar that I'll compare all of the rest of them to.
This is the light that is the spark. That is the light. That is the spark.
Galaxy.
Yeah, that one.
That one from that one movie.
From that one.
Yeah, I feel like this is again, like I'm going to use this now as kind of the litmus test, the grading on the curve, and for all the reasons that Jake mentioned, the pacing and things. That's all the stuff that I loved because it felt like a Kurosawa samurai film, and the slow, deliberate pacing and the silences and just hearing the wind blow was awesome. I was into that. So I know it's totally different from the Western vibe that we've had the last few episodes. So it's a little jarring, but yeah, I really dug it.
So you're at a 10. Ryan Dole.
I'm taking one of the ones I didn't use last week.
He called it. He said as soon as he starts talking, he was going to go out. Say that again, Ryan. Sorry.
All right, so I'm going to take one of the credits I didn't use last week.
Yes.
I'm going to apply it to this week and give this 11 credits.
Okay, you're breaking rules. Okay, there you go.
I make my own rules. I'm rogue, and so and I did that for the kind of the same reasons Troy did with the Kurosawa references. And on top of that, like it was like a samurai film, but it still had like that gunslinging shootout as well. So we got that Western plus the samurai-ness, and you could. I'm pretty sure someone's already done it. I'm going to check for this tomorrow because there's probably side-by-side comparisons you could do with Yojimbo because it had Yojimbo written all over this with some of those shots with the dust going by in the background. The gate, right? Like, there's so much good stuff. And
I got a King Kong vibe from that the entire episode, like a Skull Island kind of thing. Although, I don't know, is Ahsoka the King Kong of Star Wars? Is that a take? I don't know.
They got in there,
Ahsoka Tano.
It could be. Yeah. So good.
There you go. Abigail.
That's great. I gave this episode 10 credits, and I thought that it may not have had the scope or as many different locations as other episodes, but I liked the desolation of the planet. I think it was called Corvus. It felt like nobody there had any life or happiness, so you've got that need, and it's almost like a physical thing happening to the planet. And I really enjoyed, obviously, the introduction to some new characters, which we're going to get into. I thought there was a lot of vital information that was learned in this episode, and I thought there was fantastic action and some female-on-female combat that was extremely exciting to watch. I won't go into the spoilers yet, but this is a 10 for me.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I'm going to go with 9, right? It's hard for me to give 10s because I'd like to think they could even do more. They could even do better. And this show has really, season 2 has completely blown me away. I loved season 1 of The Mandalorian, but season 2 really feels like every week just ups the ante, and every episode feels different, even though there is a little bit of a formula to the show in that there's an overall arc of where he's going, and to get there, I've said this every week, but there is that video game feel of we're going to get to this new level, and we're going to understand that there is going to be a task at hand, new characters to meet. I like that Mando, he's kind of lost his edge in the sense that he just partners up with everybody now. Like he's trusts everybody. He's like, new Jedi, cool, let's hang out, let's do this. But
he's growing as a person. I think he's realizing that you can make connections with people that are worth it and then benefit.
When you become a father, everything changes.
I knew this was coming. I knew you were going to go like, dads lose their edge.
Dads lose their edge.
Fine.
Yeah, Mando's
He's going to have a dad bod next.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
He's going to trade the next HasLab is going to be the Mandalorian's Ford Windstar.
His recliner chair.
Riding mower.
But I want to kick it off. I gave it a 9, and a couple things that stood out to me right off the top. there was some really cool shots early in this episode, and it reminded me of Sam Raimi. I feel like it had to be. There was like an Evil Dead inspired going through the forest, and
It was like shots from Ahsoka's perspective.
yeah, it was really cool. And I think
cool.
we finally figured out what the Evil Dead looks like. It's Ahsoka Tano. It's her. The music in this episode, I mean, every episode is incredible. The composer, Ludwig Göransson, I can't say his last name.
Yeah, close enough.
But just, again, bringing in different elements from previous suites. I could always use more Jedi theme. That's my rule of Star Wars. Is like any moment in life is made better with the Jedi theme.
That's
but
your cowbell.
yeah, that's my cowbell. But let's get the round table started. We'll kind of go in the same order. Jake, what were your first thoughts coming out of this episode? Which is about a 47-minute runtime this week.
Yes, and I was thankful for the longer time. I was so happy that they just, like Dave just said, screw it. Let's not keep this a mystery even for 3 seconds. I mean, Ahsoka's that first shot just cleaving guys in half, and that was a big, because obviously her previous incarnations have only been animated, and so they're going to downscale the violence a little bit, even though Clone Wars definitely has its fair share of decent, sometimes graphic violence, but this one put that, like you said, that horror edge on it just a little bit, where she was ruthless. She was absolutely ruthless, took these guys down. I was watching it again later on in the day, and my mother-in-law was in the house, and she's like, is she the evil one? Because she doesn't know anything about the character or anything.
Right.
And I'm like, no. She has lightsabers. She's like, okay, but she's bad, right? I'm like, no.
The lightsabers are like white. No, this is good. This is good as it gets.
Right?
Right.
Oh, the sound of those sabers were fantastic too. So
sound design, top notch sound design in this episode.
Amazing. But yeah, the way they the intensity that brought her into the world was fantastic, and I think Rosario looks perfect for a 45-ish type Ahsoka.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit before we go forward. The adapting an animated character into a live action is this is new territory, right? And we've talked about it in the sense that going back all the way to the first X-Men movie, like having comic book characters brought onto the screen, there's always this gut reaction that it needs to be different. It needs to be more real world. It needs to be, instead of spandex, it will be leather. Instead of, yellow, it'll be black or whatever. But wow.
Bryan Singer.
Right. Yeah.
We could have the Spider-Man suit or one that looks like Iron Man made it. That kind of...
Right. Just really the adaptation from Clone Wars, Rebels, comic books. I thought they would go pretty close to it wasn't surprising to me that it was such a faithful look, but I think the thing that surprises to me is how it feels in world and in universe. And Troy, I'll let you talk about this. It didn't feel out of place. I mean, like, the orange skin or anything, like done the wrong way. It could be really jarring, but it wasn't. At least that's my opinion.
They're 2 for 2. I mean, with these characters like Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, I mean, they look like they just stepped out of that epilogue from Rebels. It's like it looks like her. The only thing that took a little getting used to is Rosario Dawson with the blue contacts. Like seeing her with blue eyes was like, oh, but it makes sense because Ahsoka has the blue eyes. Right. But I mean, it's kind of strange. I realized we didn't talk about Saw Gerrera, just to give some Rogue One love again here, but he was kind of adapted from the animation. Okay. And they changed him up. They changed they gave him the weird oxygen thing, and so they kind of found a way. They wanted to give him an edge, but they're just like 1-to-1 adaptations. Yeah.
Right.
It was cool seeing her. It was cool the reveal. I don't know about you guys, but you always know that there's something big coming when you read the Disney Plus description, and it's like, Mandalorian and the child go on an exciting adventure. Like they didn't even have the metadata that they
Right,
could put in there.
right,
It was all
Yeah.
secret.
Right. This sure does sound like it could be exciting.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
boy.
means it's gonna be good, chock full of stuff.
Yeah.
So so it was awesome. I mean, just seeing that whole first sequence with stealth Jedi kills, which I don't think we've really ever seen. I mean, we've kind of seen a little bit of that before in Clone Wars, but not to this extent. And it was what a reveal for the character. Like what a way. I mean, obviously it's Dave Filoni. He loves Ahsoka. That's his baby. That's his creation, and he's gonna give her a really awesome live action introduction. And this was it, man. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And all the troopers with the masks and sort of talking through the muffled processed voices. It was just all such a cool. Again, I want to give it Rogue One love. It reminded me of the beginning of Rogue One, where you're like, wow, I am in this movie. I am in this show at this moment in time.
It's funny you say that. A lot of the aesthetic, I was mentioning that to Abby earlier, of the episode and the planet and the town, the gated community, as I called it, it did have that Rogue One feel and kind of that drab, color palette, and obviously you have these townspeople or their citizens being,
There's no warmth or happiness in that
there really
area.
isn't.
You can.
Until you go to the magistrate's office.
It's still kind of dystopic in there. Like not everything looks that great.
Right. Ryan, initial thoughts.
I don't think there's anything else I can really add because that was just awesome. And she's great. They really did her justice, and we knew Dave Filoni would. And I can't imagine how high Dave Filoni must be today.
Yeah.
He must be on cloud 9.
Well, right.
And Rosario Dawson too. I think didn't she want that role for like?
Yeah,
a
she
long time?
campaigned for that role.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like we all knew that Rosario Dawson was playing Ahsoka. Like it's been kind of common knowledge for months. Like I don't know if they ever did an official announcement, but it was kind of like I think people knew, but still to have such an entrance. Abby, what'd you think?
I know there was a lot of pressure on her appearance in this episode, and I thought she knocked it out of the park. The direction of the episode was it was an incredible action in the beginning, and I think she just really fills that role out like she's always wanted to, and you can feel it while you're watching it.
Right.
She's possibly the best character at this point, in Star Wars, in my opinion, right now. After watching that episode, I'm like, she's incredible.
Right. Now, I don't, I'm self-professed. I'm not an expert on the animated series, either one of them. I've picked and chosen over the years what I've watched. Obviously pretty familiar with the canon overall. Otherwise it'd be kind of silly to host a show called Midnight Mando. Jake, Troy, Ryan, Chris Stewart's not here.
You just addressed him.
Anybody, what has the reaction been? Have you seen any reaction from the hardcore Clone Wars community? Are people pretty stoked about what they saw? I know Ashley Eckstein is wonderful, and there's some people who thought maybe she should have been given a chance to take on this role. Jake, I'll throw to you first on that.
The overall take that I've seen is that everyone is, like you said, singing his praises. I've watched a few, reaction videos where people were in tears, and these are pretty well-known, fans in the community. And so there was a lot of emotion, a lot of build-up. This character has been working on, 12 years making it to live action. If you exclude her vocal cameo in The Rise of Skywalker, this is the big. Yeah. As you do. It's funny you would mention Ashley Eckstein. I haven't actually heard or seen any replies from her, but if you look closely at the concept art and the credits, the Ahsoka looks way more like Ashley than it does Rosario. So I thought that was interesting that they kind of went with that source material. I have only seen, praises all across the board. The other thing I was looking at is first issues and stuff. And this week I was looking at the prices for her first comic book appearance, and they are ridiculous at some places. I mean, there's graded issues going for over $2,000. So
wait, can you show that cover again?
Holy cannoli.
Yeah, it's not even a full reveal cover. That's her.
I think I have that.
Oh, you better get it graded, buddy.
I gotta go find it.
Yeah. There's a couple on eBay right now that are being bid up. They were like 400 and 700, I think.
Lord.
But
That's ridiculous.
yeah, no. It's
I bet the
I
Black
really
Series
gotta go
figures
through
are
some of my
going
comics.
for a pretty price too.
Yeah, the new
What's that?
Black Series figures.
Yeah, the new Clone Wars Black Series figures are already hard to find at the Walmart. There it is. There she is.
No,
There it
this is the first.
Oh, that's the
version.
first one. Is that
So
the
she's technically
re-release?
had 3.
Yeah.
So she's had 3. This is the original.
Okay.
Then they photo reeled this one.
Right.
And then they've changed out a few pieces, but the new one, which mine hasn't shipped. I have all 3 other figures from Walmart have shipped except Ahsoka.
Okay.
But yeah, so she is it's all the Ahsoka mania right now.
Ahsoka Mania, my favorite.
Which is so
wrestling
funny because when she
pay-per-view.
started, when she first debuted, people hated her.
Oh man,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anakin
100%.
didn't
She-
have a Padawan.
Sky Guy,
was a bad
R2,
word.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Well, cool. So that's good. So overall, I feel like the reactions. I mean, look, there's going to be people who are hardcore. You know, it is hard when you get used to a character in one way and see a different portrayal of it. Like, obviously, that's not always easy as a fan. But Rosario, this is the Rosario Dawson episode of Midnight Mando. And by the way, I've always liked her. Like,
Same.
she's always been great.
Same.
Night Nurse was great.
Yeah.
Clerks
Also,
too.
Clerks.
Yeah, View Askew universe.
Kevin Smith this morning tweeted, "You never."
Kevin Smith ruined my morning.
Right.
First of all, I was scrolling through Instagram before watching the episode, and I saw his post congratulating Rosario, and I was like, "Damn it!" And I threw my
Oh
phone.
man, social media ruined your morning.
Yeah,
it was
but-
all
What a
over at,
concept.
like 1
No.
o'clock in the morning.
Kevin
Yeah.
Smith tweeted, "Never go Ahsoka to mouth," was what he tweeted this morning. So, which is classic.
Great.
So let's get into this now that we're 45 minutes of the show. Let's talk about Corvus, right? So this is the planet where Mando's been heading, and they get there. It's like Abby, you mentioned. What was your first impression? Pretty desolate. None of the trees had leaves.
Desolate, barren, no leaves, a lot of like dirt and dust. It looks like there's probably been some sadness going on in that town. Like anything that was there on that planet is now just almost dead.
Right, absolutely. And we talked about Ahsoka kind of laying waste to this entire unit of soldiers. I were they droid soldiers? I couldn't really piece together. Were they people, Troy?
I don't know. It's tough to tell. I mean, for whatever reason, they needed that breathing apparatus, so maybe they were alien in some nature that they couldn't breathe the oxygen or the atmosphere. But yeah, I don't know. Jake, did you catch on anything there?
I have not heard any identity around that race, but I think the key thing that we need to recognize is, we'll get into who runs this base and whatnot, but they did not appear to be Imperial, which I thought was interesting based on later on in the show. So
Some of the conversation that happened later.
Yeah. Even though they had the crests, like they had the rank and whatever badges, but yeah, I think that was a
had the
misdirect
Imperial?
at first too. Yeah, the first group of soldiers did.
Oh, I completely missed that because I was looking for that.
I'm just watching these guys fight.
I like it. I like it.
All right, bring it. Let's go.
Wait a second.
But this is where we're introduced to John Connor's dad, Michael Biehn.
Yes.
Biehn?
Kyle
How
Reese.
do you pronounce it? Yes, Kyle Reese. How do you pronounce
You pronounce it Hicks.
Hicks is what it's pronounced. Yes.
Thank you.
Alien or alien? No, we're not going to have the aliens discussion tonight. And he's there with the magistrate, played by Diana Lee Inosanto, who is a martial artist.
Morgan Elsmith.
Morgan Elsmith is her name. It's fun.
Elsbeth.
It's funny learning all these names. Ryan, I'll throw to you. Now, we did find out she is the goddaughter of one Bruce Lee, which is incredible. Ryan, what'd you think about this? Meeting these two.
Awesome, because I've met her in real life.
Okay.
Yeah, so I get a little biased, but yeah, no, I thought she was cool. Like again, it's one of these. Everything had a very Asian aesthetic and a very Japanese film aesthetic, and this just added to all of that. And she just had that presence of, but you knew she was going to be a threat, and not just like one of stature, but like one of like physicality as well. Like you just kind of knew. I don't know. There's something there. You just kind of sensed it.
Yeah, absolutely. She's pretty intimidating, right? Like right off the bat. Troy, what'd you think? What were your first impressions?
She's tough. She's
Wait,
heartless.
Ryan, how have you met her? Why did you meet
tell
her?
us the background on that.
Because I used to work at a high-end hotel,
Oh,
and then I helped set her up when they were doing a Bruce Lee documentary in town.
Oh, cool.
that's good. Good insider information.
Yeah.
Troy, first thoughts on these characters?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool seeing Michael Biehn, obviously, because you see him and you're like, oh, this could have been the Alien movie that we would have seen about this time if things would have gone the way that they were supposed to.
Right.
So it was cool to see him. It's cool for all of these people to start crossing over into the Star Wars universe.
Right.
You know, seeing all of the Deadwood characters. Now we're starting to see the Michael Biehns. I feel like Dave Filoni's just like, who do I love from films that I want to be in stuff now?
I also thought Michael Bihn's acting was like, I mean, he's a good actor, but I felt like his scenes in this
better than
episode were
normal?
great. Like really, really.
Oh man, I mean, so skipping ahead, that whole showdown, which I'm sure we'll get to later, but between the two of them when they're facing off with each other, his acting is fantastic. He's so good.
He was
He's perfect for this
eliciting.
role.
It's kind of like it almost had like a Timothy Oliphant kind of feel to it. Like they're watching. They know how to be a Western kind of.
Scallywag.
Scallywag.
Yeah.
Definitely not the word I was
Well,
looking for.
Michael Biehn was in Tombstone, wasn't he?
Oh, that would make sense.
Yep.
Yeah,
For
he
his
was channeling
background.
himself.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing. So Jake, you're a longtime Star Wars fan. You're obsessed. So it's got to be fun to meet these new characters and start getting to know them right off the bat here early in the episode.
100%. It's bittersweet though in Disney era because prior to Disney era, I would meet these characters on screen and I would look forward to owning them in some type of action figure form. But unfortunately, in the Disney era, we're going to see a very small fraction of what we see on screen make it to some form of collectible, unless you collect Funko Pops and they somehow struck a deal with the devil and they get everything.
They make all my garbage man, my mailman, and the local florist all just got Funko Pops. It's crazy.
And they're all exclusive too.
Yes, they're all Walmart exclusives.
No, Target
exclusives. That's been the
eBay exclusives.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Craig, I do want to point out that her little palace there, it does look similar to Jabba's.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
The Biomar monk, the palace that Jabba took over, had that circular pattern.
Yeah.
So did later on when they go into the garden, they had another one of those circular type buildings.
Yeah.
Oh, and on the gate, it had that kind of above them where the bell hung. That was very similar. That's a Ralph McQuarrie design concept. It was also used when they found the Falcon on Jakku. You know, they kind of bust through. The Falcon knocks it over, kind of the wall there or whatever.
Right. They've
Similar design.
They've kind of really leaned into going back to a lot of the Ralph McQuarrie concept art and figuring out and that not just a Mandalorian. I mean, they did that with Rise of Skywalker and I mean, they've got this entire treasure trove of amazing concept design.
The droids were a Ralph McQuarrie too. They were a concept, I think, from Empire.
Okay, interesting.
The HK. Cool. They used the name that we're familiar with from a different property, but the design is an Empire Strikes Back. We had the cloak on it and the helmet with the droid face coming out.
Yeah, kind of like a slow limp going. Yeah, maybe been through a lot.
Mando shows up.
And one more.
No, go for it.
One more
You're
Easter
good.
egg. Sorry, one more Easter egg in there. When Din goes walking into town, there's an 8D8 droid from also from Return of the Jedi walking around.
He says something too. He kind of grunts, he's like
loser.
Loser. See your Razor Crest doesn't have any ropes on it anymore. So he gets there. He's going to go to town. There's a really important scene early on in the cockpit where we see. And this show's pretty good at foreshadowing. As soon as for right now, the child for the next 3 minutes, the child is unscrewing, using the Force to unscrew the ball of the whatever you call that
shifter.
thing, the shifter, the gear. I was like, oh, something in my head, it didn't go to where it went. Like I thought like, oh, he loves eggs. He loves round things. We're going to find out. Today's the big reveal. Why does he like round things? Like, this is
That's what this episode's going to be about.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to, oh, the internet's going to blow up. They're going to reveal the round thing fetish. But that happens, and then they're walking to town, and that's where he gets to the magistrate, and they strike up this deal. They're basically like, hey, we're being tormented by this lone Jedi, and he does what we refer to in the technology industry as social engineering, and they have this conversation. She offers the Beskar armor staff. By the way, what a cool weapon. It's kind of hard to compete with a lightsaber, but that was pretty badass. Like, are they going to do a Black Series?
That noise it makes?
Yeah.
Oh, it's tight.
Yeah.
Abby, what'd you think of all that?
I really enjoyed all that. I really liked that they brought Mando into the town as like, we want you to be a fighter. We've got a mission for you kind of thing. It's
Right.
always that like, well, we'll go along with this to go along with something else and kind of go your own way once you get to it.
There was a funny moment where he goes to the he's like, excuse me, vendor, and she just is like, nope.
That was my favorite part. That reminds me of every Walmart employee in the toy aisle when we have something to ask and they're just like,
Right.
just gonna walk away.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's also such a samurai trope. Like when he goes up to the dad or the guy with the two kids and tries to get information from him, and they're just peasants, and he's just trying to get them food and clothing and whatever, and he's like, "Don't talk to us." Like,
Right.
the stranger comes into town, like you're gonna get me in trouble. I don't want to go to the stockade for you, so please
Right.
go away.
And that all of that
awesome.
kind of had that later of the first act Rogue One vibe. That's kind of where I was getting that vibe from.
And that guy that he approaches, it says, "Hey, dude, don't talk to my kids."
Right.
That's a Disney legend. It's an Imagineer.
Oh,
Very famous
Oh.
Imagineer.
that's a good Easter egg. Yeah.
That's pretty
Wang Dai Cho, I believe.
Okay.
I might be saying that wrong, but yeah,
That's
so
very
he's
cool.
That
he's
is
an
pretty
infamous Imagineer.
Yeah.
That's cool. And
Very
this is
cool.
where we also see the town's decorative prisoners.
Stockades.
Yeah,
I've got people talking in the chat a lot about that.
Decorative
saying-
prisoners.
Yeah, on these electric shock poles. It's terrifying. It's brutal. But again, some of these comments are insane. I'm gonna try not to pay attention to the chat and I'm getting distracted.
It's best not to.
But I guess it was later in the episode we see the electric shock and you actually see the skeleton, which was really really different for Star Wars, but effective in the moment. But
But
anyways,
once you see them in the stockades, you're like, okay, this explains the mood and the general vibe going on everywhere
Right.
here because that's what happens to people who live here.
so they make this deal, and obviously he is there to try to find Ahsoka, and they don't know that. And they offered the Beskar armored staff or weapon, Beskar armor, just Beskar. It's not armor yet. Maybe it will be eventually. And then he's going to be off to find Ahsoka Tano. They think that he's going to kill her, but he's going to go hunt her down and point at the child, Baby Yoda, and say, what do we do? What is this? Why am I looking for you?
While you're describing this episode to me, all I'm doing now is seeing the parallels from episode 1, chapter 1. Mando walks into a city. He gets hired by an Imperial agent with the bounty of Beskar to hunt down a force-powered person.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Seems like
No.
the same thing, yeah.
The parallels are there, and because
Yeah.
it's Dave Filoni, I don't think Jon Favreau knows the parallels are there. I think he's just really good at writing and directing, but I think Dave Filoni's getting his way.
Ring theory. Yeah.
So this leads to this really one of my favorite scenes ever on this show. He's trying to track her down, and they have a quick 30-second battle that I could watch for 30 minutes. Jake, what were your thoughts? She kind of attacks him. They go at it. He flame throws her cloak.
Well, he's caught off guard, first of all, which is out of character for him to not know that there's an
Right.
attack coming from behind.
Right. Well, that's what happens when you
See,
mess with
it's that-
sorcerers.
That's how badass
Well, no, it's
she
when you
is.
got that kid, man. It's the kid.
Yes, the kid's nothing but trouble.
Dadalorian is losing his edge.
Yeah.
I think that was a great first shot because we realized there instantly that Beskar deflects lightsabers, and I don't know if that was that wasn't clear in my head, but it became very clear once he still had hands after getting hit with double lightsabers.
Right. Beskar is the Watto of weapons, because Jedi mind tricks don't work on Watto, and Beskar is reflective of or not reflective. You guys get what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah, you're good, Craig. You're good. Yeah.
Ryan, what'd you think of this scene?
Oh, it was awesome. It was sweet seeing him do the rope thing and seeing how she got out of it compared to how Luke got out of it. You know, so you got to see, and then him trying to quickly react to how she was quickly reacting to that. So it was like just this trade-off of quick reactions from one another, and just even how it stops where he's just like, "Oh my God, it's Ahsoka! Just I'm trying to talk to you."
Yeah,
it's so good.
Just
it's
listen
so
to me
good.
for 1 second.
Yeah, just stop. Oh my God, I got a child here.
It was this orgy of like past fight scenes though, because it was the Luke and Boba on the skiff with the rope, and then it turned right into the Jango versus Mace with the flamethrower.
Ding, ding, ding. Episode 2 reference.
Yeah.
Wait. Here we go.
You're welcome.
There
Yeah.
it is. Attack of the Party Noisemaker. Troy. So Troy, real talk, normally pings on my phone do not wake me up in the night. This one did. At 4 a.m. East Coast time, I got a message from Troy Benjamin on Instagram that just said, fuck. It still was going. And then for some reason I thought, in my head I read that, and I don't know why, but I went back to sleep and I went, oh no, Force Ghost Obi-Wan showed up. That was what it was in my head. Again, just wrong. Just dead wrong.
Well, I mean, first of all, why do you have the notifications for Instagram on your phone that they're waking you up at 4 o'clock in the
Because we
morning?
need to see them.
I don't
Let
know
us
if you
know we're
ever,
liked.
I don't know if you know this, but Paul Feig, the director of Ghostbusters Answered the Call, used to send me messages, so be prepared.
All right,
That's
there
all
you
I'm
go.
saying.
Makes sense.
You just gotta have the notifications.
You don't want to be like Sasha Banks and miss your chance doing the shot. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's I mean, the whole episode, that was my reaction to the entire episode. But this particular moment, because I don't take and am I freezing right now? I'm freezing.
No, you're good. For a second. But you're good.
The whole Beskar being lightsaber resistant was totally new to me. Like I don't remember that in the Siege of Mandalore. I don't remember that in any of the Clone Wars or Rebels stuff. So like just that quick revelation of that, like, hey, here's why he could like put his head down Juggernaut style and rock through all of these troopers. Because this thing is it can resist lightsabers. It's so durable.
Yeah, those TK blasters aren't going to do anything.
Yeah. Oh, of course. So like just seeing that and then seeing the two of them, it's an old, a superhero trope. Two heroes meet each other. What's the first thing they always do? Fight for some reason. Since the golden age of comics, Thor and Hulk meet each other. They got to beat each other up first before they go, Martha.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh my God.
Before they Martha. Before they Martha. I love using Martha as a verb.
Like Din realizes that he's totally fucked here, and he's like, Bo-Katan sent me. Bo-Katan, don't kill me.
right. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, just a great moment. And then because 10 seconds after that she does that, yeah, we can talk about that. And she sees the child, and you're like, oh, here we go. This is everything we've been waiting for. You're not expecting the exposition dump that we got.
Right.
But it was pretty awesome to sort of go from that high of the fight to here's the rest of the story now coming into play.
Yes, a nice quiet moment with Ahsoka and the child, which at that point is all that we know is the name.
So there's this moment where, this moment happens. This is so great where it reminded me of a lot of scenes I've seen in movies where she's like, oh, I hope we're here to talk about that. And it just cuts to the child. He's just doing his thing. And then you see him and her kind of sitting cross-legged in front of each other or something. She's got a lantern. The aesthetic is very cool. And Mando's just in the back, just walking around, like killing time. I was hoping he would have the little rubber ball that Rocky has. It just like it always just like, I'm just waiting. They're gonna talk it out and I'm gonna figure they're gonna do some training. Jake, let's talk about this. There was a lot of exposition, as Troy said. She explains to Mando that they can kind of communicate through the Force to a certain extent. This is where we get the name. This was the huge reveal. We've been waiting, 15 episodes or whatever it's been. Grogu, he has a name. When he first hears his name, he perks up and he's like, finally, somebody said my name, me. My name was Hey Kiddo or something for a while.
From Dick Tracy. Hey, kid.
He does call him kid. He's like, come on, kid.
Come on, kid. Grogu.
And then Ahsoka's like,
Grogu. Let's roundtable this. Jake, how are you feeling about the name and the way that it was revealed?
Well, I thought when he said it, the child was going to go Super Saiyan instantly, but that didn't happen.
Right. So we're good.
But no, yeah, the name is the word around my house with the 10-year-old and the missus who watched it later on in the day. It's not sitting pretty with them just yet because it's not a cute name. And this kid here is the cutest darn thing to happen to Star Wars ever.
Yeah. Oh, look at him. Oh.
Right?
I'll just let them have the show.
Right?
That's all anyone wants to see.
So the name doesn't fit the persona just yet. So it's still growing on me. But yeah, the name was less of a big deal as opposed to his backstory, which was huge to me. And now all of a sudden, 1,010 questions appeared instantly as soon as she said the name was like, huh. Okay. And then the backstory was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
So
yes, his name is Mogwai. We bought him at a pawn shop. Little less exciting than his name is Grogu. He trained at the Jedi Temple in Coruscant and was hidden before Order 66. Do what? Prequels? Hello. Ryan, how are you feeling about this? By the way, they didn't say Order 66, but I mean, that's what we're all like. I don't think they hid him before bingo night at the Jedi Temple. We're all thinking
the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, but it all, like when I first heard all that, it all takes me back to everything that we always kind of saw in Clone Wars and a little bit in Episode 3 and a little bit in Episode 2 when we see the Jedi Council and their secrets, and they like to keep them.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there it is. But it's true. Like they like to keep their secrets. Now it's just one of them.
Right.
They said right, 50 years old is the child. So those sorcerers are noticed to also be baby snatchers. So you don't know what now kind of tells you too, like what point do they really start training these babies after they snatch them? And and how they kept this again, it's just like clearly there's more Jedi secrets. And there's probably even stuff that even maybe Obi-Wan doesn't even necessarily know.
Well, clearly.
Right? And who took him? Who hit him? Like what's going it's
That's
crazy.
The question.
There's so much. Yeah. Like
I want
Quinlan Voss to be the answer to all that. I want Quinlan Voss to survive Order 66 to have his surfer ass hippiness come into the show later on.
Oh,
yeah.
That's actually not a bad. It's not a bad choice.
Who, Troy? Who came to your mind as possible? Or well, just in general, the name and then the reveal of his backstory, because it is. I guess I never really considered the fact that he was probably going. She says he was trained by many Jedi masters, right? So people. You would think, Mace, Qui-Gon, possibly. Well, maybe not Qui-Gon. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Obi-Wan, Yoda, like people. Was there foresight? Were they hiding him? Did maybe the going thought that Palpatine rose right under the Jedi's noses and they never saw it coming. Maybe there was actually some foresight of something that will be revealed down the road, and because he was so strong with the Force, they hid him. Like, I don't know. That my mind was going in a million directions.
Yeah. I kind of wonder, there was an expanded universe thing that Yoda was an ultra rare species of, only a handful across the galaxy, and then when Yaddle showed up in Episode 1, it was sort of like, oh wait, there's more? What? That's totally outside of what we've always been told. So it is possible that they're going to try to, because they've been doing this very deliberately, working some of the expanded universe stuff into the fabric of what they're putting together, that maybe Yoda and Yaddle came from a very rare, extinct or endangered species somewhere in the universe. And as soon as they found another child and brought him to the Jedi Temple, and they're maybe always naturally their M count. I got to go back to
they're force
Yeah.
sensitive.
count.
Say
Yeah, they're force sensitive. There's something genetically disposed to being force sensitive, and they knew that they had to protect this being because they knew that he was going to be a force user. So I don't know. It's cool because this is one of those exposition dumps that opens up, like J.J. Abrams is very impressed with how they built this mystery box, where it's like, here's all the stuff you've been waiting to know, and here's 5,000 other questions that you now have to figure out from this point forward.
Yeah. Well, actually, now it had me thinking as you were saying. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think John Yerkeba and I are on the same wavelength because we usually always are. But I think Grogu is super cute. I think it's like, it's that Yoda Yaddle. It's that same like guttural with an upturn at the end. It's like boo boo, bye bye.
Yes.
It kind of feels
Gizmo.
babyish.
I was gonna say he always
Gizmo.
when he's talking, he sounds like he's clearing his throat, and it sounds like a noise he would make. Like he could say Grogu, and he might like mumble that.
Grogu?
sound.
I actually noticed some of the noises he made today, and I hadn't noticed it before, were a little bit reminiscent of Yoda's kind of like.
Yes, I did too. Some of his huffing, puffing,
Yeah,
and
some of
grunting
that.
when he's moving reminded me a lot of that.
But what else? Let's pick this apart even a little bit more. I mean, the notion that he almost as a in his nature to protect himself would hide his force abilities almost based on instinct. That's just so cool. Like, I don't even know how to react to that other than that's just real. That's cool. That's something cool that I haven't thought of. I thought of it all. But yeah, any more thoughts on this specifically? Jake, you had so many notes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, Ryan and I can tag team back and forth.
Let's do
There's
it.
so much, could there be a secret order of Jedi? I mean, it could be something as simple as Yoda started not trusting Palpatine, kind of like maybe he had questions and just decided to subvert things and keep a secret level that was off limits, or it could be that he's the Jon Snow of right? He's just this bastard child that had to be hidden away, right? Also, the question is, how does Ahsoka not know Grogu if he's the exact same age as Anakin and he was raised in the temple? So he would have been there her entire life. So why? I mean, the Jedi at the beginning of 10 minutes was like 25,000, and then over the course of the year, but that was spread out over the galaxy, right? There's only this finite amount of people in the temple where Ahsoka was. So yeah, there's lots of questions there.
Oh, Jake,
Yeah,
I love that. I don't. Sorry, Ryan. I stepped on you again. I'm so sorry. But like,
It's because he's on the bottom.
it's on the bottom. Yeah.
So high
Tops
up.
and bottoms. You know how it is.
Stop.
But the sense that they can be two of the same kind, maybe that's why they're bound to each other, because Mando had no idea that he was a part of this sect of religious zealot Mandalorians until 2 episodes ago, and now we're learning that maybe it's possible that Grogu is part of some sort of offshoot of the Jedi. That would be awesome. Sorry, Ryan. I didn't mean to step on you with that. I just wanted to agree with Jake because that was brilliant and I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, no. And it's all good. Because it just had me thinking, like, I think Mace did know about this kid. And that's why when they brought Anakin in episode 1, and he's just like, oh, and you think it's this boy? Because we got our boy, our little chosen one, is under the stairwell that is hidden, and you don't know about it. And me and Joe Costa knew. We the only ones that know. So I don't think that's your boy there, Qui-Gon.
Now, I did love
What's his M count?
like a billion. I do like I like when Ahsoka kind of explains the Force to Mando, and he's like, I don't remember the exact quote, but he's like, I've seen him. He does stuff I can't explain, and she kind of gives that boilerplate, like, I feel like day 1 of Jedi training. All right, when a regular person asks you to explain the Force, you got to tell them about all life is bound by the energy
it's
field.
an energy field.
Do we bring up the midichlorians? Don't even bring that up. It's just
That's
too
for
much.
later.
Like, you wouldn't bring up your blood type in normal conversation, would you? Like, so it's really cool. And then this is where the experiment happens. She's like, let's get some sleep in the morning. We'll put him to the test. And they do the thing with the rock, and she floats the stone to him, and he throws it down, and Mando's like, well, he's temperamental or something like that. It's like a really funny,
stubborn.
Yeah, he's very stubborn.
He's stubborn.
He listens to you. It'll be the first time. Like such a dad thing. Like it's so funny. I love it.
Right.
But then this really important thing happens where, because of the trust that he had, we know that they have this inseparable bond because of the trust and the love and the trust and love that Grogu has for the Mandalorian. It creates a severe vulnerability that she doesn't say Anakin, right? Now Ryan, if Ryan was writing this episode, the dialogue would have been like, well, there used to be this guy named Anakin, and he was great, but he loved his wife, and then he thought she was going to die, and then Palpatine just explained.
Okay, I see where you're going with this, but my actually first question was, does Ahsoka know about Padme? And when she says attachment, is she thinking of his mother?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because she might not have known, right?
That's true. That's very true.
How does she not know about Luke Skywalker and Anakin and Vader and all that stuff by now, right? Like this is 8 years after.
Well, she doesn't get the Jedi newsletter. Clearly.
Yeah, but would she put two and two together that it was Like she probably would get that it was Padme. Maybe.
Wouldn't word get around that this kid Luke Skywalker helped kill the Emperor? Like that kind of and Skywalker being.
We need to remember that she is an enigma even among Jedi because she got to hang out and live in the world beyond worlds, right? When Ezra saved her from getting killed from Vader, that's when it goes a little non-Star Warsy and puts her in how it displaces her from time. Remember, she didn't return from that battle, and we thought, oh my gosh, she died, until years later we find out that she was hanging out in that other world, right? Plus, also, we haven't talked about it, but I think it was just prior to this scene, she died in the Clone Wars. And the daughter on Mortis brought her back by putting her life essence in her. And therefore, that's why whenever you see Ahsoka, you see the owl, Morai, because that was kind of the companion or guardian of the sister. And Morai was in this episode in the trees when they were walking into the forest. Yeah. So she is something more, Right. She is not your average Jedi in regards to, or previous Jedi or Force user or what have you. She's experienced things that 99.9% of Jedi and Force users have no clue on.
All very good points. I think, but Troy, Ryan, But the funny thing is, I had these conversations after watching the episode with Abby today, and then Jake called me, Jake Walsh called me, and there's always math involved in The Mandalorian. I feel like after every episode...
I'm so sick of being like, well, how old are they? Right. Well, how old are they now?
And Jake,
I think...
Did you make the
Math-DeLorean? That's great.
Every episode, it's like Good Will Hunting.
Timeline, please.
Jake, I don't remember what I feel like you posted something on social media today where you were trying to figure out something math related. Is this true?
It's very possible.
It's
very possible. This is. I think I was trying to figure out how they're going to wrap up every one of these storylines in the next 3 episodes. That's
not happening. Yeah. I think we're about to get a slew of new announcements. I think there's going to be a Boba Fett show, an Ahsoka show.
She's getting around.
I literally think Mandalorian exists to create new spin-off series.
Yeah. The Cara Dune Variety Hour.
Dude, please.
Right. No, I would see the Grief Karga, just like a Johnny Carson Tonight Show. It would be perfect.
No, he runs a school now. I need to figure out what reality, Navarro 101 or something.
Right. Trying to figure out these timelines can be a little bit confusing, but just as a refresher, we're what? 7 to 10 years after the events of 5 years after Return of the Jedi?
Well, first season was announced as 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
We have to assume there was a time jump between season 1 and 2.
Right.
Mostly because of Navarro's makeover, right? Because it was...
I think they did like a Queer Eye kind of thing. I think 5 dudes showed up and they got
5
Navarro.
droids.
Yeah, 5 droids showed up, and like there's that part where they have to sit down with Cara Dune, and they're like, "You see me? You're having pain on the inside. What happened?"
Use 3PO's voice when you do that.
Stop it, Ryan. You're getting banned.
Come
Get
on.
outta
That
here.
was good.
So, okay, so we're about 5 to 6 years, something along those lines, after Return of the Jedi. Now we can skip ahead a little bit to this this conversation. I don't remember exactly where it happens in the episode, but actually, I don't want to go there yet because it's way later. So, what happens next? I guess now they put their plan together that they're going to go back to the city and take care of business because, oh yeah, that's what it is. Mando says, "I need you to train him." She's like, "I'm not going to do it." And then Qui-Gon showed up, was like, "I'll do it. I'll train anybody. I'll train any Jedi. I don't care." My meme. I was very proud of my meme today. And
That was amazing.
but she was like, "I'm not going to train him because of the reasons we already talked about." And then he says, "Well, they sent me to kill you. They don't know what we're doing out here. If I help you get rid of them and free these prisoners, will you train him?" And that's kind of the pact that they make. So taking a deep breath, let's let that be a breaking point. Abigail, how is the chat going this evening?
Oh, it's going wild. Looks like we've got a lot of folks talking a lot of cool stuff.
A lot
on
of
here.
math.
There was a lot of math, to be honest. I think mostly everybody's kind of been there right with us. Enjoying Grogu's the reveal of the name. It looks like pretty much everyone has positive reactions to that. And somebody says, Brock says that Grief plays golf.
He does.
So
he absolutely
that
does.
makes sense.
He does.
Grief on golf.
Grief on golf. Well, because when you get your hand chopped off in the Star Wars universe, you get a cool. You don't get a wooden one. You get a nice electronic one.
Come on,
Rancid, get
Mando.
my
Just
hand
don't
off.
get the ball stuck in the lava, Mando. Come on now. You just got to tap it in there. You don't have to worry about all that.
Just
So-
easing the tension, baby.
I interviewed Carl Weathers last year.
Oh,
Last
cool.
year.
Very
Tight.
cool. Very
It's
cool.
been- so you can see here's where I got his autograph.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Oh, nice.
I interviewed him in the summer, but right before Mandalorian season 1 came out. And of course, I'm the Star Wars nerd, and I'm at the Washington State Summer Con on stage, and I'm just like, I'll build to it, right? I'll ask about the career of Apollo Creed, and then we'll get to Happy Gilmore, and we'll get to like Arrested Development. That man loves film and loves talking so much. We got to Mandalorian with like only 3 minutes left of the interview. I'm just like, oh man.
That's so funny. But it's one of those things too. Like I've tried to get different actors and stuff on the shows, and at the end of the day, they're so limited in what they can actually say. Like it would be great to get somebody on here. This is my excuse because I can't get anybody. But it would be great. I had the opportunity to get John Juan Carlo Esposito, but he can't say anything, so he passed. None of that's true. I would love to have him. Also, that Darksaber, the Hasbro Darksaber, the kids one is really cool, and I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah,
it's like $25.
one.
Oh, you
It's
got
fantastic.
one? I was playing with that.
Actually ended up with 2.
Oh, cool.
My son got me one for my birthday a couple weeks ago, and then one came and Hasbro was kind enough to send me one as well. So,
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a great toy.
Yeah, I got to try to convince Hasbro that I like Star Wars as well as Ghostbusters. It's like, no more plasma series. Give me some Black series. Oh, we have a visitor.
Hi.
So this is where this kind of the halfway point of the episode, are probably actually. You all right?
Yeah, had to get it.
Moving towards the third act. They go back to the city. They kind of separate. This is where you get this really good scene that we talked about earlier between, and I don't think they gave a character name to Michael Biehn, but they did say he looks ex-military, correct?
In the credits, they list him as Lang, Lang.
Okay, gotcha. Very
Good to
cool.
know.
And they kind of have this. What I loved about this scene is that the town is kind of split into two. You've got this kind of worn down, weathered, sad Western feel, and then the other half is like the dystopic feel. And you have this duel showdown going on at the same time as the samurai showdown, and it was like being in two genres at once as they cut back and forth. But my favorite thing in this episode, and I've watched it 3 times now, was the sound design when Ahsoka shows up at the top before she hops back over, and you hear the Batman cape. Like it was so good. I was like, there's so much Batman feel to that.
Yeah.
But
so much badassness to that. That was insane.
The music too, like that. The music kicked in. There was kind of like that upbeat, like pop, like
right.
It sounded completely out of the norm, which is it was a cool contrast to the moments earlier where they were sitting by the Empire Strikes Back lantern. And that was all like Yoda's theme and very John Williams. And
right.
It was cool to kind of hear the two of those.
Hey, show of hands. Were there tears? We needed. This should be a segment. Were there tears?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah. I shed some tears.
Oh,
on this
dude,
episode.
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
I was a hot mess for 40 minutes.
Yeah. When I thought there was gonna be a separation, I was like, I.
Oh yeah, later on. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have to call in sick today.
Dude, yeah. It's like when you think E.T. is gonna die, you're like,
Right.
Oh man.
this is sad now.
So yeah, let's break it down. Ryan, really, you're getting a really well acted scene between Mando and Michael Biehn, but on the other side of it, you get this. I'm trying to. I know we talked about the samurai influence throughout this episode. I kind of got a combination of like between the duel, the Beskar staff versus the dual lightsaber. There was some Phantom Menace feel to me. There was some because it wasn't the. And that's probably just because they were on a thin platform. Let's face it. But there
was some artistry to it. Like there was some
artistry and really good choreography. But it felt like a very a real world sword fight. It didn't feel as over the top as maybe something you would get in the Clone Wars or something like that.
It is shot like an old style Kawasaki like samurai fight. You got one on one side, one on the other, kind of like Street Fighter in its own way. Right. And then because it had a very Kill Bill influence, which was also which is influenced by another movie, which I apologize if I'm wrong, and I should have Googled this before we started. I think it's Lady Snowblade or Lady Snowbird.
Okay.
Which is another.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which influenced Kill Bill, which I think now all comes full circle and kind of comes back to this. And then so you've got that, you've got Kill Bill happening on one side of the wall, and then you've got John Wayne happening on the other side of the wall. Mm-hmm. And it's just it just warmed my heart. It was like two of my favorite genres, which again are completely overlapped to begin with, but to kind of see it all happening all at the same time, it was a little fan service for myself personally. And
Lady Snowblood.
Yeah, Lady Snowblood.
Jacob Walsh.
Thank you,
Lady
Jacob.
Snowblood. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, so I was wrong, but still close. And and I also like the stuff where she's leaping on the rooftops too, because it also had a very Ang Lee, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of thing going on there as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of hit like all my buttons. It was smashing those buttons hard, and I loved it. So
her fighting style is like almost like parkour, like walking and running up on walls and all that.
She changes her style too. Like I don't know if you guys probably noticed, she goes from like her rebel style fighting, and then she loses a saber and goes into her Clone Wars stance as well, which was just like another geek out moment.
There's some talk in the chat about the robe drop.
The robe drop was a big moment for everyone.
Yes, like Obi-Wan and Anakin, the old. This is our specialty.
Tony Taylor says robe drop equals fully crested.
Yes.
And if you watch Toy Anxiety, you'll know what you'll know cresting.
Oh, there was some serious cresting. I agree.
Or Jake or Ryan, can I ask you? Didn't Ahsoka get Beskar armor in Clone Wars at one point too, or like Beskar infused armor or something? I thought when the whole siege of Mandalore happens, like the trade off is that she ends up getting some sort of Beskar. So I thought that that was the reveal that she was wearing Beskar armor too, but it didn't seem that way.
Was she at the original siege of Mandalore?
No, it was Obi-Wan.
No, it was Obi-Wan. It had full Mando gear in that one.
Well, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
In Clone Wars, season 4, 5, season 4 or 5 is when he did the original siege of Mandalore, and he was in full armor. I don't even know if does Ahsoka visit Mandalore at that point? Because her
I don't think
her
she
experience
visits
with
Mandalore until
well, no,
Yeah,
remember
she'll
the
see
top
seven.
kids, the
seasons,
poison
yeah.
juice, right? Remember the
right,
she was,
right.
Juice boxes. Yeah.
But that was when she was little, and then she wasn't really doing a whole lot there just yet.
This is where she had her halter top on.
Yeah.
No, I don't think she did at that
No,
point, but
no,
that's
that
cute.
wasn't.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. So
Nice
never
try,
mind.
Craig.
I thought
You
at
can
one
join the
point that she
conversation
had
later,
this,
okay?
I gotta watch 10 seasons of an
Yeah,
animated
we're
show.
trying.
We're trying.
Currently.
We're trying.
Every night we try to watch several episodes in Craig's.
I sleep. I'm a sleeper. I love sleep. That's why we podcast at 2 a.m. Anyways, so I thought it was really great. I thought the choreography was wonderful. I thought that she's very intimidating. The magistrate. She was very
Tough as nails.
she was tough and really without there's we talked about it earlier. They pack so much in to 40 or 45 minutes, and I mean, any one of these could be expanded a little bit and just be a full blown Star Wars movie, like any one of these individual stories. But
Frog Lady next year, season plus. That's the show I want.
yeah, there you go, Frog Lady. But it's really a cool scene. There's so many cool shots with we didn't really talk about the first assault where there's a shot where she comes up behind somebody with the dual lightsabers, and the reveal and the sound design. It's just really good Star Wars. Like, it's just fun. Like, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah,
Like, it's just,
and whether you have the investment in watching Rebels or Clone Wars, you are still going to enjoy it as someone who hasn't seen all of it.
and that's
Still
really
enjoy it, and that's something.
that's a testament
special.
to the writing.
That saber reveal that you talked about, where she kind of looks like she pulls them out of each other.
Right.
That is shot for shot from what she does that in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
She does that in an episode. And it's just like, I mean, that's I guess what we're all saying is this is the power of what Star Wars can have when it comes from one vision, right? The power that George had with the original trilogy and mostly with the prequels, but now that Dave Filoni is being able to take his characters from this animated show to that animated show to now this live action, you get this seamless, beautiful, echo ring theory, nostalgia for, a property that's grown throughout this time. It's just really nice to see it all come out like this.
I think that this hopefully should lead to Dave Filoni and maybe Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau being given a trilogy. I think, I hope, if that's what he wants. Like, if he doesn't want that, if he just wants to stick to what he's doing, that's great. But when you talk about the singular vision, and it doesn't have to be, it could be something completely separate from anything related to Skywalker, Jedi, anything like that. But I would love to see a series of movies just with their vision, because I think maybe they had to prove themselves. Maybe Mandalorian was a even bigger risk to Disney and Lucasfilm than we thought. Maybe they're just as shocked as the world is at just how good
The reward and payoff is. Like, people love it.
But
Yeah,
I think
that I'm just happy that they gave Filoni the chance as well to also just give a chance with live action, because I think they always just kind of saw him as the cartoon guy.
right.
And Jon Favreau giving him that opportunity to show that he can transfer all that stuff and make it live action. It's Thanksgiving weekend, and I'm thankful for that.
There you go. Look at that. Canadian
Thanks.
using
Good on ya.
appropriating an American holiday, which is already controversial in its own right. So yeah, I think I really I just love it. I think the world of what they're doing. So the scene's going down. One saber goes into the water, so now it's
And the water gets choppy for the first time, because initially you see it nice and still.
Right,
I like
right.
that little piece.
And there's this really cool conversation between Mando and Michael Biehn. What was the name we settled on?
Lang, I think.
Lang.
Lang Bean.
Where he's like, who's gonna win? And they're kind of listening, and then you hear the Beskar hit the ground. He's like, looks like you won. And then they have the duel, and he kills him, and all is well.
Yeah.
but just the way they wrapped up this, and it was really intense.
He
and,
shouldn't have been smiling when he was pulling for that gun when he was going to shoot Mando, because that totally gave everything away. I was
right,
like,
right. He really showed his cards.
Could have been
there.
way cooler than that.
So
I am sad that he's a one and done, though. For the
Yeah.
most part, for what we think.
Yeah.
for what we
It
think,
is
yeah.
sad.
In Star Wars, does anyone stay dead?
Right, right.
I mean, I was waiting for Boba's feet to walk up to him at the end there. And
So how about
Dun, dun,
that?
dun.
Now, obviously, coming off of episode 1 of this year, I want to say the right thing. Coming off of chapter 9,
Chapter 1.
chapter
Chapter 9. Yeah.
episode 1, season 2, chapter 9. I think we all kind of thought like, oh, they're going to really explore this Boba Fett story, and we're the season's going to be done real quick, and who knows if they even get back to it. That's why I think maybe some of those rumors about a Boba Fett solo show could be true. And I think, let's talk about Ahsoka again. She reveals what she's been looking for, right? She's been looking for their master. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. And she's straight up. Now, did you guys have an idea who she might have been talking about?
Not until that last moment.
No?
Yeah. No.
For some reason, I thought my first thought was Darth Maul, but then I was like, okay, let me start doing math again. When did Rogue One happen? And then it gets confusing. But it ended up being Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, let's have our experts fill us in. When's the last time we saw Thrawn, and what was he doing?
Yeah, we're all pointing up. Sorry,
Jake,
Yeah,
let us know.
He was on the Star
All right,
Destroyer with Ezra, right? Is that
that's
the last time you
correct.
see
It
him?
was-
Yes.
Okay.
It was the final episode of Star Wars Rebels. Ezra pulls the hyperspace whales, the Purgils, in to attack the Star Destroyer that Thrawn is, because he's currently just mass bombarding Lothal, Ezra's hometown, home planet. And so to get them out of there, Ezra and Thrawn and the Purgil Space Force whales shoot into unknown, right? So that is the last time we see Grand Admiral Thrawn. So that dovetails into the epilogue, which Troy, you had already mentioned, I think, where Ahsoka and Sabine are on a mission to find Ezra because he was part of their squad. And I think Sabine and Ezra could have future together. So I feel like this could be a lead up to that, because if she can figure out where Thrawn is, then she can go have that scene in Rebels and then launch off to find Ezra. So I think in the scheme of things, this show happens prior to the epilogue. And we know that the epilogue takes place years later because Kanan and Hera's kid, Jason, is like a 6, 7, 8-year-old.
Okay, cool. Now, do we think Raul Coley is going to actually be playing Ezra after denying it for the last year?
He has been punishing me with all those different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's incredible. He was incredible in Bly Manor. I think that would be great. And he's clearly a giant Star Wars fan. And I don't think being a huge fan is a prerequisite for being on these shows, but I do think
But it helps.
There's something about it that helps. Like I think
You fit in with the rest with everyone else on set.
yeah,
I think,
you're
more.
invested in it because obviously, who's a bigger Star Wars fan than Dave Filoni, right? Like
George Lucas.
Well, I think Dave Filoni might be a bigger Star Wars fan than George Lucas.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
All right, that's fair.
So I think this spins off. I don't think that the next part of that story is going to happen within the Mandalorian. I think that is going to be its own either miniseries or full series, because clearly the world loves us. So I think she could definitely carry her own show, and I don't think clearly where we're going with this is this continuation, right? This is what she tells him, is that I'm still not going to train him, right? They made the deal, but Abby, you referenced the scene earlier where you thought there was going to be a separation. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, well, Mando walks into Razor Crest and he's like, he opens up the door and Baby Yoda's, Grogu at this point is asleep, and it's like he has to wake him up and he's going to say goodbye. And that's such a tough thing to think about if you're a pet owner or a parent, I imagine it's like a difficult moment, and I completely lost it. I was like, I don't know if I can watch the show going forward if they're separated.
Well, when
That's
he's sitting
very
there holding
upsetting.
him, like
Yeah.
he's sitting there holding them before they leave, and it's just like, oh my god,
Right.
oh my god.
right.
Right.
Yeah. It's tough.
Exactly.
It's really
and,
tough.
and there was that really ominous wide shot of the Razor Crest kind of looking in from a point of view, and you're like, oh shit, who's watching them at this point too? Like you're expecting
Right,
somebody to come out of
because we know
the
that tracker
forest.
is still in the Razor Crest.
Right. We
Yeah.
haven't talked about that
Oh,
yet.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Damn.
Right.
So I'm with you, Ryan. I thought that was going to come into play. Like this is where Moff Gideon shows up and bombards the Razor Crest, and Ahsoka sees like she thinks they die or something. Like I was waiting
Right,
for
right.
that like car explodes credits, and you're like, what the hell
Right.
just happened?
Yeah, we haven't talked about
yeah.
that tracker yet. Like we know that they're being followed by the Grand Moff, not Tarkin. I want to say I'm so tired. I want to say Tarkin
Gideon.
so bad. Grand Moff Gideon,
Gideon.
and the remnants of the
Okay.
Imperials and their jars of something. Their jars of clay CDs. Their jars of Snokes, and yeah. I mean, so
to a dark place from college. Dark
so.
Wow.
Ahsoka tells the instructions. Here comes more exposition, but I love it. The instructions that she gives Mando are to take Grogu to the planet Tython. We will talk
Tython.
Tython.
I had to do my research.
There you
I
go.
went out to the
Yeah,
store.
yeah.
And
Ah.
after this episode, I went out and made sure I had this issue. This is the first canon appearance of Typhon.
Now, Tython is an ancient. It's a planet with the ancient ruins of a Jedi temple. Some people say the first Jedi temple. At a maximum, the first Jedi temple. At a minimum, a sister planet to Octu. Something very important to the Jedi. Let's just say that. And then we are going to. She says you need to place Grogu on the Seeing Stone and see if he connects with the Force. And if at that point he does, maybe the Jedi or a Jedi might sense his presence and come searching. There are not many Jedi left. What do you do with that information other than like punch the wall and
I pray for this. I pray for more of this.
Yeah.
yes.
More of this. This is all I want. Right
I think it
all I want.
as separate as Mandalorian has felt from the Skywalker saga, you can't help but think like there might be a reason they hammered it home that at this time Luke was training Leia right around this time period. That was
But at
my
the same
first
time,
thought.
Like they're deliberately trying not to say Luke Skywalker. There were 3 or 4 moments in the episode where it was like she's going to say Luke Skywalker, and she very purposefully does not say Luke Skywalker.
Right.
So it's possible that this might be a misdirect too. We're all thinking, awesome de-aged Mark Hamill is going to show up. That's
Right.
going to be
Yeah.
the end of the series or something. But it might be Ezra. It might be someone else that we're not
Might
expecting.
be Mace Windu. He survived his fall too.
Is that
Yeah,
canon?
No.
Oh,
No.
Not.
Ask Samuel L. Jackson, and yes,
I thought it was
absolutely
canon. I thought I was
100% it
learning
is.
something. Well,
Yeah.
Ryan's been telling me there's another season of Rebels coming, and I was like, I finally found out there was wrong about that.
I swear they announced they were doing another one of Rebels. I swear of it. I haven't double checked that though in like forever. but
Yeah.
I swear. Watch it. If it
but
comes
Cal
on Disney
Kestis
Plus,
is alive.
I'm sorry.
Cal Kestis from
Cal
the
Kestis.
video game.
Yeah,
We've got people talking about that in the chat.
yeah. I mean, there's different. One thing this show has not done is they've either met expectations or exceeded them, time and time
Okay.
again. So,
But we all know without going into it, we all know that the Luke's trajectory wasn't well met with the sequel trilogy, right? And everyone's like, why the hell did we not get the badass Luke Skywalker, right? Well, I think if you take the idea that we have a tracker on the Razor Crest, and the Razor Crest is going to a Jedi temple, and then the Imperial Remnant is coming to the Jedi temple, and then that the temple is going to trigger the Jedi, which is Luke Skywalker at this point, you have this magnificent end episode in the building, right?
yes, no, yeah. I mean, I took it even further that this will all maybe not this season, but Luke and Leia will find Grogu, and they will train him, and he will become part of the new Jedi Order that is eventually torn down by Kylo Ren. And the last episode of this season or the show will be Kylo Ren killing Grogu.
No,
come on, no one would.
Greg, you can go to another room.
Yeah.
The four of us.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I mean, I mean,
sad.
here's the thing. I'm joking, obviously. I don't need Adam Driver like, look how young you are. But God forbid anything happens to Grogu. I don't want it to. He would still be alive and well into the sequel trilogy and hundreds of years, past
We
that.
didn't hear his voice in Rise of Skywalker, so there you have it.
There it is.
Yes.
That would have been funny. You hear all these noises and then just like some goo goo gaga.
Yeah.
But seriously, it opens up.
Everybody's upset at you, by the way, Craig, in the group chat right now. Because you ruined everything.
Cancel Craig.
Yeah, you're about to get canceled.
Got canceled.
They're gonna get to the
Good show
Jedi
while it
Temple.
lasted.
Grogu's gonna be like looking, and it's gonna cut to Luke. He's gonna go, "I don't even know who you are." Hey, by the way, we joke. For the most part, I like the sequel trilogy. But what's happening is Mandalorian is just
So much better.
I don't want to say it's just giving me Star Wars that I'm thinking about. I'm going to sleep thinking about it. I'm waking up thinking about it. I'm calling off work thinking about it. I've quit my job.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Me too.
Well, I think
I've stopped showering to think about it.
I've just given up.
I think the important thing about The Mandalorian is, I was just talking about this the other day. It keeps us at a height level because we know that more answers and more reveals and more stuff is coming. The problem with the movie is you have the build up to the movie drops, and then it's like, well, we didn't answer that. Here, we don't have that discomfort with you didn't answer that because we know we have season 3 coming. And there's no reason this show wouldn't go on season 4 and season 5, right? With just 8 episodes and so many different directors. I mean, this could be a very fluid thing for a long time. We could always be we're always got that anticipation for the next thing, for the next answer, for the next reveal. Like Rise of Skywalker drops and you're like, well, there's so many questions. Like,
right.
I enjoy Rise of Skywalker just fine, but I do know that it's incomplete when talking about, Return of the Jedi ends and you're like, hey, that was a great story. It answers all my questions, right? Mm-hmm. Rise of Skywalker is like, well, no, what was that? So there is.
But I think part of the problem is though that these days the audience is different these days, right? The audience that consumes media, that consumes movies, that treats these properties very meticulously. Like you could walk out of Return of the Jedi and say, that was a great story. My questions are answered. We live in a world now where you walk out of Rise of Skywalker and you go, well, did she build that yellow lightsaber? How'd she get it? Why'd she bear the other one? Like it's just, and you don't want to fault people for that. It's just such a different thing. I did want to mention this real quick. I don't want to forget it. I thought, and I could be wrong, that when they saved the town and they were having the celebration and everything was good again in that town, did they use parts of the Return of the Jedi special edition music?
We don't know.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
It didn't feel like it didn't feel like the Yub Nub version. It felt like they were they almost little hints. I could have been wrong.
Woodwinds.
Yeah, more the clarinet. Were there clarinets? Is what I'm asking.
Did they have a kid with a Roman candle in the back with little?
Yeah. Craig, that's not a clarinet. That's actually a saxophone.
Oh, okay. By the way, I do love the idea. Every time the Mandalorian saves a small town during the celebration, they just cut to Cloud City, cut to Naboo, like just the same shot. It's so funny. Like just that same shot of Wicket and his kid, like 3 days on set for So okay, so much happened in this episode. We've covered a lot of ground, but I want to make sure we hit everything before we get into our other little categories here. So any other thoughts before we move on? Any other things that we need to point out for the people? Because there's literally so much to unpack that it's almost unfair.
I'm just trying to go through.
'Cause-
I think I'm okay. I do have one prediction though.
Okay.
I think that spear is going to end up going through Moff Gideon at some point, either by Din or getting force thrown by the child.
Oh.
That's
Please
that
give
is-
me that. Please give me that.
I know
Yeah.
that's super dark, but they're also been
Coming back.
hinting at a lot of darkness with the child as well, with him choking out Cara Dune in the first season, and then
He's dark. He's been through a lot.
Yeah, he's got a lot of
he
fear.
has been through a lot, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, right? So
When
I'm
you
just
think
like,
about it.
so I could see some a little darkness happening, and them having to be like having parent panic.
In
Daddy
the
panic,
chat,
gotta
they
have a
want
good
us to
kid.
talk about
About
the
the Loth-
Loth cat.
The
Was
Loth
that
cat?
the little...
Yeah.
Yeah, Lothcat.
Love cat,
Cute.
baby, love cat.
Where does the Loth cat originate?
That's
Both
from Rebels.
Clone
Lothal.
Wars or just Rebels?
Yeah, the-
Rebels. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
It was
Love
Rebels,
cats.
Yeah.
Love Star Wars.
Love cats,
Star
and
Wars
it's
cats.
yeah, and it kind of it's kind of another symbol for Ahsoka as well.
Okay. Gotcha. I have to go back. I've not seen the owl. I heard a couple people talking about it earlier. I'll have to go back and try to find it.
Upper left-hand corner of the forest, like, tracking shot
Yeah,
comes in.
And the Loth cat you see in an alleyway, it like hisses into the camera.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Right.
But, I mean, Craig,
here's-
you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jake.
Right.
Go ahead.
No. I'm
Oh.
going speculation.
I just want to piggyback off of Craig saying like you wanting to dive into Rebels and Clone Wars, I think is indicative of what Dave Filoni has been doing since
Right,
day one.
right.
Like Clone Wars, you watch that and it makes you see the prequels in a different light, and it makes you love and respect different things about the prequels, and it kind of helps fill in some of those gaps where, like you guys were talking about, that the movies just don't have that luxury of time to use. So I feel like they're taking advantage in Mandalorian to fill in some of the gaps, maybe some of the things that people were complaining about in the sequel trilogy. And maybe we'll see Luke Skywalker in a different light after this, and we'll understand why he chucks that lightsaber over his shoulder a little bit more, because we're going to see something happen. Or, that's what Dave really does. And like, it's a good thing that your first instinct after you watch this is like, oh God, I got to go watch
Right.
Clone Wars season 7 because I need to know more
Right.
about what happened to Ahsoka at the end of that.
And I really like Rebels. I think I've watched a season and a half of it, which is I need to watch more, but it's great and it's well done. And I think if we were in a different time, if we didn't have live action Star Wars and Disney Plus, I think Dave Filoni might be working on another Star Wars animated series that would do for the sequel trilogies what Clone Wars and Rebels did for the prequel trilogies.
Yeah.
The Rebels definitely heats up when it becomes more of a Clone Wars Part 2.
Right,
And when they
right.
start to implement Rex and Ahsoka and Hondo, and when they really
Vader.
start to, you got to get out of the first season and a half.
Right.
We like to refer to the first season as Kansas because it's just like tons of scenes in wheat fields,
Right.
So once they get off Lothal, it gets a little better.
Cool.
When Troy was talking about it, I was thinking, I wonder what it would be like now for someone who's just learned of Ahsoka. I wonder what it's going to be like to watch her now go back and watch the animated, and if that is going to be as congruent to someone who's new to Ahsoka as it is to us who grew up with her.
Right.
That'll be interesting because she's pretty darn dark, and you're going to then have to skip back to Sky Guy and watch that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's
that could be jarring.
I wonder what I love about it, and we touched on it a little bit earlier, is that I believe that a Star Wars fan of any level and of any entry point will get enjoyment out of an episode like this, or even the episode where we saw Bo-Katan and her crew, where I'm envious of the people who have been on the Clone Wars train for so long, and for the people who Ahsoka Tano has been such a beloved character for them. Today must have felt, I'm trying to feel, today must have felt like I'm going to feel in June of 2021 when I'm watching, Peter Venkman and those other people.
Ray Stantz.
The other ones, right.
Ray Stanzi and
Ray Satanzi.
Ray Satanzi and
Stanzi.
yeah. So that's exciting, but also to somebody who's moderately familiar, like me, or more than moderately, but enjoys it on that level, or to somebody who had no idea. It was a great introduction to that character, and I think I do agree that Dave Filoni there's going to be a lot more streaming of Clone Wars and Rebels than there even was.
You're pulling more people into the fold that way.
Right.
That's really smart.
Jake, you said you had some projections or predictions?
Oh, geez. When they go to the temple,
Yes.
what has happened with Dave Filoni in cartoons when they go to temples? What happens? You see Yoda or Qui-Gon. So you were talking about your meme Qui-Gon. There is a good reality that when he goes and has his Force vision on the Seeing Stone, I think Frank Oz is a very, very likely candidate to come back and do Yoda.
That would be cool. I would
Is
also.
there a
That'd be
chance-
awesome.
I would love to see Qui-Gon too. I'd love Qui-Gon to be like, if I was there, I would train the shit out of you. They'd be so mad at me.
I mean, I hate
You
to
weren't
float this 'cause
taken,
the
were
chat's
you?
gonna hate me, guys.
Were you taken?
Let Troy do.
I just want to make my taken jokes. All right, Troy,
He's
go
got
for it.
Is there a chance that Hayden Christensen, I can't even say it, I can't speak tonight. Does Anakin Skywalker show up in that temple?
Oh,
I mean,
And Padme. Oh, does Padme show up in this temple too? Oh, yes.
Why would Padme be there? Stop it.
Why not? I love Padme.
There's like it's like in Back to the Future 2 where any old citizen could get a hover conversion on their car. We now have civilian Force ghosts. Anybody
Oh,
can do
no,
it.
she's not a civilian. She's an angel.
Oh right.
you know
Luke
what? A
Iago.
great tie-in to the Kenobi series would be having Ewan McGregor do it.
I think he's going to show up eventually, and I do think Hayden Christensen will show up at some point. I think we've all kind of suspected, especially now in this world that we live in, where yes, my Qui-Gon and my old Luke are the exact same voice. I get it. I didn't even give him an accent. Grogu will become a Jedi. I guarantee it.
I'm a little worried about Hayden, though.
Okay.
Hayden's going to feel like, looks-wise, he's going to feel like when Orlando came back and played Legolas, and you're like, it looks a little different.
Oh,
Something's
different.
wrong here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Some uncanny valley I can't quite
Yeah.
get behind.
You know, I think because Anakin is because the prequels are so loved, and because Anakin is such a beloved character in the Clone Wars, I think, do we think that there's something to explore there with Ahsoka, with obviously the betrayal and everything she went through fighting Darth Vader, and then the things that she alluded to in this episode. It would be interesting to see some interaction between them, more so than
absolutely.
even the Grogu. I keep wanting to say Goku, or Roku, or Gogu.
Charles Grodin.
I hope it's Charles Grodin, the dad from Beethoven. An Ivan Reitman produced film. A lot of people don't realize that.
love Beethoven.
Yeah. Again,
wait, I could be wrong.
Ghostbusters fans talking about Star Wars.
I know.
That's
I know.
the show.
We brought Jake in to legitimize us. Okay, so I don't have any further predictions other than I don't think they're going to make it to that Jedi Temple until the finale of this year, possibly not even this season. I think there's
Well, the Razor Crest has to break down at least 2 more times before the end of the season.
exactly.
More side missions to fix it.
Now, do we think that when we get our Razor Crests and our new figures, at what point will we see the child officially become Grogu? Is there enough time?
Branding wise?
Yeah, branding wise.
I think so. I think for the new packaging, for the
Yeah.
Razor Crest
12.
at least.
12 to 18 months
Yeah.
is the turnaround that Hasbro states that they have right now on figures and reveals. So unless they were told this beforehand, we've already seen the Razor Crest Baby Yoda package, and it says the Child Navarro.
Yes. It
So
does.
that one. So
And
that
that's
one
fine.
is
That's fine. Yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Last thing before we go to these categories, Mando Monday, we got to talk toys a little bit. What Black Series or Vintage Collection reveals will we get this week? I've got some predictions.
Oh, go for it then.
Well, I think a Vintage Collection Mandalorian Ahsoka Tano will be revealed on Monday. That's my prediction. That's that. I don't have any inside knowledge. Just based on we got Grief and we got the new child. I think that would make a lot of sense. They just did a Black Series Ahsoka, so it might be a while. And it's pretty. The garb is pretty similar, but they might want to get one out with Rosario Dawson's face. So we'll see. But I think we will see a vintage collection reveal on Monday.
I think that is a very good potential. I had an interview with Hasbro a few weeks ago, and they mentioned that there was more retro collection to come, and the rumors have also said a second wave of Mando retro is very possible. So I think that's a good call.
A Bo-Katan retro would be pretty cool. And
yes.
With Ahsoka, and even if they did a heavy gunner, did some more season 1 as well.
I'll tell you what I don't want
Mayfield.
Vintage, any more vintage collection Carbonite figures, because they are peg warming so hard. It's like, cool, a Stormtrooper with yellow stains. I'm going to still buy
for
them.
$17 is why they're peg.
Right, exactly. That's true. That's true. Okay, cool. So we covered a lot of ground, but now we have to go into our categories, and then we're going to wrap it up because it's late, and people got to sleep, and people got to watch Mandalorian again. So let's go ahead and do our Grogu moment of the episode. Hey. I changed the graphic. There it is. Baby Yoda and the child are no longer.
Wow.
Abby's back from getting a snack.
Big time stuff.
Let's start with Troy. Professional podcaster here.
Oh, we're professional. This is like a 2-hour show. Continue. I'm a human being.
Big time stuff.
Troy, moment of the episode for Grogu.
Every time he responded to his name. Every time Grogu was said and he did that little that got me every damn time.
Yeah, that was cute. Abigail?
Mine I actually don't even have to look at. My favorite moment was when Grogu gives the stink eye to Kyle Reese. What's his name?
Lang.
I love that when it's like, he's like, well, why do you bring that thing along with you? And like, you see him look up and like squint his eyes at him. And it's very cute.
He's like, because why do dads bring their kids to the grocery store? To get attention from single women.
Powerful.
Jake.
I think when the heartbreaking moment where he goes to, kind of prep him to give him away to Ahsoka, and he's sleeping, and he kind of opens his eyes a little bit, gets half awake, and then kind of drifts off again. It's just, I've seen that with my own children multiple times. So that was a real heartfelt one, and I think that's an important scene in this series because Dave Filoni does not have children, but I honestly do think that he views Ahsoka as a fictional daughter, and those feelings I think were really well projected in this film toward Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Ryan?
Mine is when Din pulls out the gear knob, and then he floats it back, and then Din gets all like, "Hey, buddy! Oh, kid, you did it!" And he has that very like proud dad moment. And he's just chilling, holding his ball. I want to write that book, man. Mandalorian dad culture. And I think it's amazing stuff. Jango was a good dad. This guy's a good dad. These guys are good dads, man. Like, I love it. And
why do you have to every episode say Jango's a good dad? Like, we know, we know you like it.
And he had leave me alone, man.
I like it.
Craig, can I give?
I like to talk about
runner up. What's up?
Runner up after that really long sequence where Grogu is talking to Ahsoka using just telepathy and they're in each other's thoughts. When the conversation is finished, he does this like, "Okay, pick me up" thing, and it was.
Right. Cutest. Hi, I'm one of the most powerful beings that have ever existed.
Also the cuddliest.
Yeah. Please pick me up. Yeah, I mean, you guys, I couldn't pick one. You guys did it all. He was kind of separated from the action tonight, but all of it. I'm gonna go with him recognizing his name was. My cats kind of react to their names sometimes, and when they do, I get really excited. I'm like, they know. After 10 years, they know. Yeah. Really good stuff. Let's talk about our MVP of the episode. Who's it going to be? Troy Benjamin.
I think it has to be Ahsoka. I think I would.
Do we even need to do this segment?
This is a dumb segment. Just admit it.
Well, the last couple episodes, there's been some competition.
Yeah.
Although I would say runner-up for that would be the Magistrate, because that was such a cool sequence, and seeing somebody that was formidable enough of an opponent that gave Ahsoka a challenge, because I saw a lot of criticism that like, well, she beat Darth Maul. What is this Magistrate? Who cares about her? And it was like, well, she was in her own right very powerful and very cunning, and was able to at least strip one of the lightsabers out of her hands. So,
And Ahsoka still beat her in the end.
in the end, yeah.
She also wanted information from her, so she didn't want to like gut her instantly because she needs stuff from her, right?
Exactly.
Whereas I think she would have been happy to gut Maul at some point.
Yeah, that's
Multiple
true.
times. Yeah.
Jessica Parker left a funny comment. I'm going to read it. I hope she doesn't mind. She says, Ryan wants me to have a baby even after telling him a million times I medically can't anymore. Ryan, why are you want fatherhood to spread across the galaxy?
I think Brock would make a very good Mando dad.
I think he
Yeah.
would. He's already a good regular
he
dad.
He already is a good Mando dad.
There you go.
He's already, he's doing really well. I think he should have more of those because he's already done so good with the first two.
We've covered so much. I don't think there's really anything else that we can go too in depth on. But Troy brought something up earlier that I think would be fun to pontificate for one moment. Thrawn casting. Who is going to play Grand Admiral Thrawn? Is it going to be you? I don't think so.
How about you?
It could be you. Now, there was something that leaked years ago that there was like an actor doing like a Thrawn audition in makeup. And this was probably 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So I don't think it'll be him, no-name actor on the internet. But Troy, did you have any thoughts on this? It was your question.
Because I sent it your way because I did not expect to see Grand Admiral Thrawn in live action iteration in this show. Like that was the kind of curveball that I was like, whoa, dude, I hope that we actually get to see this come to light. And if not, it will happen in the Ahsoka spinoff that we've all talked about. But Benedict Cumberbatch was the one that came up that I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's handsome and weird looking. It would work.
With the blue face paint and the glowing red eyes, like it would be pretty great.
Yeah.
But
He's great.
Do you guys have? I'm curious to hear what other people think.
100%. Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, that's a
100%.
good call.
Pierce Brosnan, he was in that he was in the Will Ferrell movie this year, and he was great.
He was.
Hey,
This is Dad.
what was that movie called?
Oh my god.
Eurovision.
Eurovision.
Ding dong.
We all that movie saved the first part of quarantine for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
That
made
movie
it.
was incredible.
Absolutely. That and Tiger King, right?
Tiger King,
Yeah.
that, and then I thought Happiest Season would be the next part, but the movie wasn't that great. But I love
It's still fun.
I like Kristen Stewart, so it's fine. But yeah, Tiger King and Yaya Ding Dong, and then Mandalorian. This year's been easy, and then Ghostbusters got delayed like 20 times. It's fine.
Oh,
So-
John, that's good. Jason Isaacs. Yeah, Jason Isaacs would be a good Thrawn.
Okay.
I was thinking John Hamm. That was
John
my
Hamm.
first thought.
So the going thought is somebody who's got some rigid good looks in the 50 to 70 age range. Is that about right?
That's not Ben Mendelsohn, because that's who I was going
Yeah,
to
Abby
say.
said Ben Mendelsohn. I was like, no, that's
already
not gonna
had-
work. That's not gonna work.
Already had his change.
He's got to have a Bruce Wayne appeal to him. Christian Bale could probably play it. because he's
Christian
got-
Bale? You cut out. Did you say Christian Bale?
Christian Bale?
I said Christian
Scott
Bale.
Bale,
Yeah,
actually.
Scott Bale.
Oh my god!
Gotcha.
I'll
Okay.
contact him on Parlor and see what he says.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Him and Cara Dune. Okay. Oh my
Right?
god.
But no, because he's got to kind of have that tall, dark, handsome, mysteriousness to him.
Right.
Right?
Cold
Like, just 'cause-
delivery. Everything is just cold and
Yes.
and yeah.
Like Ben Stein. Ben Stein could play
Einstein,
could play Admiral.
Skywalker.
There's a whole season of Ahsoka trying to win his money. That'd be so
Yeah.
good.
Well, what do we think that Lars could pull it off? You know, he's played by Lars Mikkelsen in the Rebels.
Okay.
So I mean, could be another one to a little makeup, a little darker hair,
Yeah.
maybe.
It might
So,
work.
I mean, I think that would be cool. I mean, listen, I used to kind of laugh at the thought of like an animated character actor being brought in, like, because it's just voice acting is so different than it's just a different thing. But obviously, the Bo-Katan Katie Sackhoff thing, it just worked. Like it just worked. So like I don't know, maybe that could work. I'm not coming up. Pierce Brosnan sounds great to me. Like that
That does sound good.
That's a wise choice.
like clearly. I mean, James Bond, Mrs. Doubtfire,
Yeah.
Remington Steele is
light
what
bulb
I grew up
suction.
with.
Remington Steele.
Yeah.
We'll just have we'll have GoldenEye jump from one N64 game to Shadows of the Empire. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Oh, maybe we could get Bruce Willis to come in as old Dash Rengar. Oh.
Oh no.
Somebody tweeted Carl Weathers today asking when we were going to see him and Sylvester Stallone on screen in Star Wars, and I was like,
It could happen.
well, I mean,
He's
Give it to
showing
me.
up in Guardians of the Galaxy. Why not cross over?
Yeah.
Fanboy
was
Cantina says Christian Slater.
Christian Slater?
Hey, it's me, Grand Admiral Thrawn.
My kid brother's the wizard.
That's the only one that you can say.
He just says that for some reason. My dad's
I was
Bo
in
Bridges.
Robin Hood.
Okay, that's fun. I mean, yeah, and then obviously we think we're going to see Ezra. We think we might see Sabine. So lots of interesting casting. We're going to end up seeing a lot of people that we never thought we were going to get. So it's pretty damn cool. It's pretty damn
Well,
cool.
that's the insane thing about it. We're 13. Just think of it this way: you're 13 episodes into a series, and think of how many marquee names have been in this series already. I mean, there's just so many actors that have just are okay with a one and done episode in The Mandalorian. I mean, everything
Right.
from John Leguizamo, I'll do a voice for 3 minutes in a show. What? You bet.
Right.
It's just that's the power of this show
Yeah.
is the stars that want to absolutely are in line to like, hey, I'll cameo. I'll be 8D8 mumbling down the street.
Yeah, it's the new Batman 66 window gag, right? Like
That's what it
everybody wants
is.
to be
Everyone
Everyone
wants
wants
in.
to be a part of it.
Yeah, we're gonna get I can't think of one actor from that. That was but I know
Oh.
that all of the Batman 66 villains were like
Sammy
famous-
Davis will come out of the window.
Okay.
Hey guys,
Yeah, it's a great place because it seems like most of the people that come on are either fans of Star Wars or like know about the buzz around the show, and having like
So,
Jason Sudeikis, Amy Sedaris, like funny people on the show has been really great.
yeah. So, do you think this will be our introduction to Brie Larson joining the Star Wars universe?
I don't know if we can handle that.
I can't.
I couldn't. I
Ryan-
need 100 calm downs.
Ryan talks about the Brie Larson Star Wars trilogy all the time as if
Like
it's
it's
if
Like,
that-
it
real,
must be
yeah.
every other week for sure. Once every other week, I bring up like, how do you think they're gonna do it? They're gonna do it right. Like they'll give her like a lightsaber because she has to have one, right? And it'll be like Old Republic, and she'll have a Padawan, and it'll
Yeah.
be her Padawan will be Brie, like Allison Brie.
Allison Brie is what I was gonna say.
now
Yeah,
here
Old
That's-
Republic tie-in. I mean, High Republic tie-in. So the big publishing push starts
Yep.
in what, a month practically now.
Soon, yeah.
In January, they pushed it back. High Republic, Typhon, Typhoon, Typho, Typhus, whatever the planet is we're going to.
I have it. Hold
yeah,
on.
I wrote Typhon.
Typhoid
Typhon?
fever.
Yeah.
Typhon.
Yeah.
Typhoid Mary.
Typhoid Mary. That planet is apparently a reference or a pendant from that planet is referenced in High Republic issue #1 that's coming out to Marvel Comics. So I wonder if this will be something like we'll get to Typhon and that storyline or that temple or whatever will play a bigger part down the road in not only publishing, but I have the theory that that whatever Star Wars trilogy comes out, it's going to be High Republic based in the next, I don't know what their time frames are anymore, but that's my going theory.
Could somebody fill me
we
in
go.
on the time frame of High Republic?
Brie Larson is the timeline.
Yeah.
I like
it-
that.
What was it? Yoda would be, it's like 400 years, right? is it 200, 400 years in the past?
So are we gonna get teenage
Skywalker?
Yoda and teenage Yaddle like smoking by
Yeah.
the bleachers,
Whoa,
making out?
Yeah,
yes.
It's like Grease.
Yeah, they
it's
smoke
like
weed.
it's like Grease, but Star Wars. Like he
Here's
wears
the-
like a leather jacket. and it's
Grogu
called, like,
origins.
right. Yeah. Instead of the T-birds, they're the X-wings. I guess there wouldn't be
Yeah.
X-wings then. Holy shit. We didn't mention this one part about the magistrate because I can't think of her real name or her fake name.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth. They kind of give a little of her backstory. They say that she is a destroyer of worlds. I guess
Everything was taken from her, so she's just taking everything from everyone else.
Right. She was part of manufacturing some of the Star Destroyers. Something.
Star
It was
Destroyers.
something along
Well, they
those lines.
said that her planet or race or something, because I think is she supposed to be alien with the head?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but they said that her planet or people were wiped out, which would make perfect sense as to why she would align herself with Thrawn, because that's kind of his storyline. His people were wiped out, and
Right.
so so she's a warlord, which they didn't elaborate on, but that helped justify why she could hold her own against Ahsoka a little bit.
And I do wonder how long Ahsoka's been tormenting these people. Like, it seems like maybe it's been going on for a while, and like every
Maybe
week.
Ahsoka burned down all the trees.
Yeah.
I'm gonna root them out.
So, man, what an episode! What a time to be a Star Wars fan. I hope that they're able to, it feels like they're getting right back into the Skywalker stuff, and I love it because I think Jedi mythology is my favorite part of Star Wars. But I do hope that they can launch successful trilogies and series that take place, way in the future or way in the past and kind of exist on their own, because I think that's really important for building out Star Wars going forward. I think there's just tons of great stories to tell with tons of amazing writers and producers and directors out there, and we know Taika Waititi's going to be doing something, and is Rian Johnson, is that trilogy still happening? Is it?
They've never canceled it publicly.
Right.
So Rian Johnson has a trilogy. There's supposed to be the Game of Thrones guys, which took a different deal with Netflix.
Right.
We're supposed to have a series of movies.
Right.
Kevin Feige was apparently going to produce or drop away from Marvel for a movie for Star Wars. Taika has a movie. Who knows, right?
Who knows, right? Well, we don't know. I think 2022 Star Wars Celebration. We're going to learn a lot that weekend. I think we'll have a better idea.
A little bit.
I think
We'll all be there
Dude.
together.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
In the
Ryan
meantime,
needs to
we guarantee know that Kenobi will start filming soon, and Mandalorian season 3 is already under production. So no matter what, it's a heck of a time to be a fan of the old Star Wars. Listen, everybody, this was fun.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we're able to do this every week. We got a couple more weeks left. Getting sad already.
We've given you the image of Yaddle smoking a cigarette under the bleachers.
right. And
gift.
hey, listen.
She's got that deep, scratchy voice.
Oh my God, yes.
Like
sandpaper.
Oh, Yoda, get over here. You would not believe what I just encountered over there. They was trying to steal my pants. My pants.
Gosh, Yaddle, I'm trying to smoke back here. Leave me alone.
Well, your doctor said you needed to cut back to 42 packs a day. Hey, listen, Jake, why don't you go ahead and plug all of your things and let the people know where they can find you outside of the top corner of Midnight Mando.
North Tacoma, Washington is if you want to come stalk me.
Okay.
If you want to find me online, you can, of course, find from forlomtozuckus.com. We're on the Instas, we're on the Facebooks, and we tweet from time to time. So you can always find us there.
Cool. Great content.
Yeah.
If you're a Star Wars fan.
You can also find me on Sandcrawler podcast a lot, and also Galaxy of Toys podcast. So wherever you get your podcast feeds. So
cool. Yeah.
There's that too.
I love Sandcrawler. The discussions on there are like, it's so, and I mean this in the best way possible, but it's just down and deep nerdy. It's like, we're going to talk about Power of the Force Series 1 for 3 hours. And I'm just like,
Leg proportions.
sign me up right now. I love Dengar Dan. We're going to have him on the show at some point.
Do it.
Troy Benjamin, Ryan Dole, Abigail Gardner. What do you got?
I'm feeding cookies.
Those are discount macarons.
Yeah.
Those are not the
Not the $50 one.
the $50 ones.
Yeah, these are kind of old.
By the way, everybody, thank you for joining. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for hanging out in the
Thanks
chat.
for commenting and being cool, y'all.
Tons of fun as always. We'll see you next time on Midnight Mando for Yes
Love
Have
you.
Some Podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg saying, this is the way.
Bye.
If you're listening, Brie Larson, good night.
I hope you're okay.